Welcome to Piano Video Lessons. In this lesson, we're going to begin learning Minuet in F by Jean-Henri d'Anglebert. This is Unit 9 at pianovideolessons.com and also Unit 2 of Year 2. We're working on Grade 1 level Baroque music. So this is lesson number 1 of 3, and in this lesson we're going to be working on the basics of learning the piece, which include the notes, rhythm, and fingering. We're going to follow this practice plan, and there's also a study guide and a sheet on the characteristics of Baroque music in your ebook. So if you just want to click the info card, you can come on over to pianovideolessons.com where you can get the ebook for Unit 9. All right, so in this piece, we're learning another minuet, and it's in F, as the title says. So one thing that you can do before we begin this piece is go back and practice your F major technical requirements. So that would be your scales and your triads. So scales and triads in F major. And now we're going to have a quick look through the piece. So the first thing I like to look at is fingering. So I'll just put the title here on this. Oh, I have a squeaky bench today. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but we've got minuet in F, and we're working on accurate fingering. So when we look at the piece, there are some finger numbers written in the music, and it starts here on finger 3. And so when we play our 3 on the first note, the note after that is a neighbor. So we're going to go 3 is the first note, then 4, 3, 2, 1, and then 5. 5 is written in. Here, let me grab my pencil. 5, and then switch to 3, and then up, down as neighbors. Then we have 2, neighbor, 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 skip. So we're going to end up on our thumb here. Then it takes us to 4, and then the same note again. So 4, down, down, down. Then it says 3, down, up. Those are neighbors. 2, now 4, neighbor, 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 and now 3, down, down. Now this part of the piece sounds a bit like the beginning. 3, up, down, 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 but now it changes. 3, up, down, 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 3, up, down, 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 3, down, up, skip. So from line to line, we're skipping. Next line, we're going to have 3, up, down, 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 3, up, up, 4, down, down, down. So that's the fingering for the right hand. So let's go ahead now, and I'll just write down here, right hand is done. Let's go back and look at the notes. The first thing that we'll do is what I like to call note flashes, and we're just going to practice the notes that have finger numbers written on them. So the first one here says 3, and it's A. So I'll play A. And the next one here is 5, and it says C. Then it says 3 and also C. Now 2 on D. Down the next line we have 4 on F. Then we have 3 on D, 2 on C, 4, C again, 3 down to A, 3, A again, 3 now on G, 3 now on F, 3 now on E, 3 again up to C, 3 on D, 4 now on B, and B's are flat. And then that's the end of the right hand fingering. So we've now done right hand note flashes. So now let's go ahead and play all of the notes for the right hand. And we're going to start off with the note flash and then use the fingerings that we worked out in the first step to help us with that. So we'll play 3. And then we're going to go up, down. Now we have to remember B's are flat because we're in the key of F major. So the very next note is going to be my 4, but it's going to be on a black key. So 4, down, 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 5. That's on C. And it's C again with 3. C, up, down. Now 2 on D. D, up, up, down, down, up, skip. Now 4, it's on F, I'm already there, and then same note, down, 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 3, down, up, 2, switch to 4, 4, down, ooh, I missed the B flat, 2, then 4, watch the B flat. Hear what that sounds like when you don't hit it. 3 on A, down, down. Keep on going, 3 on A, remember the B flat, up, down, down, down. 3 on G. Up, down, down, down. 3 on F. Up, down, down, down. 3 on E. Down, up, skip to thumb. Now 3 way up to C. 3, remember B flats are near here. Up, down, down, down. 3 on D. Up, up. 4 on B flat. Down, down, hold, and then thumb. All right, so that's the right hand accurate fingering and notes. Now we can go back through and do the right hand with the correct rhythm. So it's in 3/4 time. So we're going to be counting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, all the way through this piece. Now you'll notice sometimes we have to play 2 notes on 1 beat. So we just divide those 2 and 3 and. You can write the ands in your counting, or you can just divide those notes up into the beats as you play them. So now here we go. We're going to start, maybe we'll just tap this first because we've been doing that in our other pieces in this unit. So we're going to count while we tap. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. Let's look at that rhythm right there. We have a dotted quarter note, which is 1.5 beats, and then we have an eighth note. So that counts as 1, 2, and. So it's like we took a quarter note and a pair of eighth notes, which would count 1, 2, and. I'll put all the ands in there. And then we tied these 2 notes together. So instead of writing all that and tying it, we just put a dot here that is indicating a longer quarter note. The dot is always equal to half of the note that's in front of it. So now this quarter note holds for, dotted quarter note holds for 1 and 2. And then we have and. So we have 1 and 2 and then we finish the measure with this last quarter note, which is 3 and. So we'd have from here 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. There it is again. Next line. 1, 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So that is the rhythm for the right hand. Now let's take all of those things and put them together for right hand, playing the correct notes with the correct fingers in the correct rhythm. So if any of these stages was tricky for you, you should go back and practice those again. But now we're going to go super slowly as we put this together for the first time. Don't forget B flats. 3 starts on A, and then we're going to hold and we're going to count 2 and 3 and. We're just looking for those directions and those finger numbers to tell us where to play our hand. So here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and finger 5. 1 and 3 up, 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now you might want to practice that line a few times. Next, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. Now finger 2, 1 and 2 and 3, finger 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and. So you might also want to practice that line extra, especially with this dotted quarter eighth rhythm. Next line, finger 3 moves a lot in this one. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 you may also want to practice that until you can do it without difficulty. Now moving on to the last line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. So that's the entire right hand for this piece. Let's go back now and look at the left hand. So you've got all of the right hands done. Now we're going to go back to left. So first, accurate fingering. So it's going to be 1, because it tells us it is, then a neighbor down, a neighbor down, and a neighbor down. Then we're back to 3, and down a skip, then neighbor, and then all the way up to thumb. So right there, that goes from 4 up to 1. It's just a reach of a fourth from a space up to a line. The notes are a bit far apart, so it's harder to see the distance that they are between each other. If I wrote them here, you'd see that the bottom note is on C and the top note is on F, and that's an interval of a fourth. So we continue on. 1, down to 2, down to 3, down to 4, then move our hand, play 3, up to 2, that's going to be B flat, up to 1, and this is a C and then an octave reach. Let's put a 5 on that note. This is an octave all the way down to C, and then finishing with our 2 on F. So go ahead and practice the fingering for your left hand, and then we're going to look at the note flashes. So there aren't very many here, but we'll do even these extra ones we've written in. So 1 on F, and then 3 on D. We're already there. 4 on C, also already there. 1 on F, no movement required here. We have 4 on C. Now here we have to move our 3 down to A, so we'll circle that one. And then we're going to play our 5 down on C, so we'll circle that one, and then 2. So you could also do that with the right hand, which is you could circle any finger number that causes your hand to change position. Like for example, when we kept on changing our finger 3 position on these 4 measures here. 5 measures. And also we moved our finger 4. So I could circle all the circles. I'll do it for you. What the heck? Finger 2 is a move. Finger 4 is not. Finger 3 is a move. Finger 2 is not, finger 4 is a move, and then finger 3 is also a move. Okay, so I've circled every place that you have to move your hand now. So we've worked out the note flashes. Now let's go ahead and play the left hand by itself. So we're going to have 1 on F, then 2 on down, then going down again, and going down again. Now playing 3, it's on D, and then skipping. This is going to take us to the flat. Might want to draw something around that note to really remind you that something strange happens there. And then 4 on C, and then 1 up on F. Now I'm just going to pause and talk for a second. Notice I didn't write a flat in front of this note. I didn't write B flat anywhere on here. I'm just circling it to remind ourselves that something happened. We have to use our brains to figure out what. The B flat is in the key signature, and the note is B, but we're not writing that in because we're trying to learn to read music, and if we write it in with our pencil, then we're robbing ourselves of the opportunity to read that each time we get to it. Okay, so I finished with 1 on F, and now I'm on the next line. It's 1 again, then down again, and down again. Sorry, down again, and then down to C with your 4. Now you're going to hop your 3 down to A. Now we're close to that B flat again. So every time I move my hand, I try to become aware of where my flat will be. And here it is in the left hand. And then up a neighbor. Now octave down to C. And finishing with your 2 on F. All right, so there we have the left hand notes. Now we can go ahead and do all of that with accurate rhythm. So there isn't a lot of rhythm for the left hand, so let's go ahead and just give it a try. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, here comes the flat. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, same note. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Now we move. 1, 2, 3, B flat, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that's the only time we're not holding for 3 in the entire piece. So we've now done hand separate work for all of 3 of those stages. So now we can go back and try to put the hands together. And we're going to work on this in small sections. So you could do just 2 measures, or you could do just a line, or you could do just 2 lines of the piece, depending on how comfortable you are. The less comfortable you are, the slower you should play, and the smaller amount you should try. So I'm going to just demonstrate this first line, first tapping with both hands. So here we are counting and tapping left when the left plays, right when the right plays. So here we go. It goes 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. Now we can take that onto the piano and play it. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now if that's too hard, take it much slower. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. You might just stop there if it was tricky. You might need to go slower. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. It's okay to stop and think, especially if you're counting out loud, because your brain is aware that you've counted and stopped, therefore you're pausing. It's like pushing pause on a recording. So now we're going to keep going. Next line, counting out loud and playing 1 and 2, and here comes that boxed up note, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. I'm just going to erase these notes that I drew here as an example so that we don't think we should play them. Now we're on the next line. So we're going to keep our beats slow and steady. We're going to count. We'll stop if we need to think. There's a lot of moving, so we might stop every time we need to move, just to double check for this first time through. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Stop and think. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Stop and think. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Stop and think. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now you don't have to stop and think, you can just keep playing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now both hands have to hop out here. So that would be a good place to do the countdown method of practice. We'll come back to that in video 2. So here we go. 1 and here comes B flat and 3. Here's that rhythm. 1 and 2 and 3. Here's B flat again. 1 and 2 and that reach. 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. This might be the hardest line. It's a little bit deceptive, partly because we have a lot of B flats to keep track of, partly because we move a lot. Both hands move at the beginning of the line, and we've got that rhythm, which for some people is a little bit new. So be super careful on the last line. All right, so I'll play the whole piece through for you now, and in our next lesson, we're going to refine playing this piece to work on the dynamics, the touch or articulation, and also getting the tempo steady without stopping. So here I go. I'll see you in the next video.